Let's listen to the tale of endurance from a survivor of such child marriage. Ritu Kumari Thakur, I would like to invite you to share your story of endurance of child marriage with us.
Hello, I am Rinku Thakur. Hello, I am Rinku Thakur, a child marriage survivor from Nepal. I am working with Radha Paudel Foundation and Global South Coalition for Dignified Menstruation. And now I am going to share my story. When I was 13 years old, for the first time, my parents asked me to get married because many of my friends are getting married at that age. But I said no. And by listening no from me, and everybody was shocked because girls are not allowed to say no in my community. But anyhow, I convinced my parents and saved myself from at that time. Again, when I was 17 years old, again they asked me to get married, and again I repeat the same thing. I say no, I don't want to get married. I want to live like a human beings because I grown up with the practices that women and girls always have to listen to their parents, always have to follow the rules, always have to follow the restriction like that. And I also see lots of women and girls are dying or doing suicide or lots of things. So I say no to the marriage. And but at that time I was failed to convince my parents because my parents are also being pressurized from my community, relatives, and everyone. At that time, I was working in FM radio as a news reader. I share my story there that I don't want to get married, and my family, friend, nobody is supporting me. After that, I met some social activists also who are working for children right, but they simply say, we used to teach, but you can get married, that's not a big deal. Uh, and that way, I didn't get support from them. Then again, I tried a lot to convince my parents, but I didn't get any support from them. Then again, I went to police for the support, and they came to my home in civil dress to convince my parents that I have to. My right is that I have to study. That's my right. But from that day, again they didn't listen anything, and they locked me in the room. One of my relative, one of my family member came to my house, and he says me that the good girl never say no to their parents. They have to listen. They have to agree in everything. They are not allowed to take their own decision. And when I say no, I don't want to get married. This is against human right. And when I say like that, he asked me to commit suicide, write a suicide note and commit suicide. And they give only two options to me. Either I have to get married or I have to commit suicide. But I manage, I make myself another decision, and I make decision to leave my house. With the help of some organization and police, I left home and started staying in the shelter, uh, which is nearby my house. But that is not easy for me to living in the same society by leaving my house because they says that girls leaving their house that could that make the bad reputation of the family. While I used by staying there in the shelter, I used to go college and for work. They used to do bad comment on me and lots of things. But anyhow, I managed to change the shelter room, and I leave my village too. And still, I am very far from them. And this is not only my story. This is the story of so many girls from my hometown, from my country, and globally. Globally, every girl do not speak like me. Eventually, I left home and stay in the shelter. I keep searching the reason for child marriage. I study research report through online. I meet activists. I listen lots of interviews of the person who are working for children and against child marriage. And And I found out that menstrual discrimination is the main reason for child marriage. Menstrual discrimination creates power and patriarchy, and slowly it comes to the child marriage. No one likes to speak about the menstrual discrimination openly. It creates systematically way in the community and discriminating to the girls. Somewhere it is visible and somewhere discrimination goes on systematic way. Youth like us are working against child marriage and gender-based violence, but they are not thinking in critically. They are not. Their thought are not critical. Critically thinking. They are like not involved. Like just working, but don't want to understand what is the main reason of child marriage and gender-based violence. Um, so um, we used to practice menstrual discrimination from when we are 6 years old. We listen something about menstruation, and we listen from our family, our community that menstruation is the sin and curse of God, and there are lots of restriction, and systemically it creates child marriage. So we have to focus that menstrual discrimination is the underlying cause of child marriage and gender-based violence. If we can't make dignified menstruation, we can't stop child marriage. Thank you.